She was never the loudest voice in the room, rarely the most emotional. For years, people saw her as the quiet observer, the logical, pragmatic one who simply went along to keep the peace. But in the high-stakes game of the Brown family's unraveling, the quietest player turned out to be the most dangerous. This isn't just a story of a woman leaving a broken marriage. It's the story of a calculated 5-year plan, a masterclass in patience and precision that allowed Janelle Brown to walk away not as a victim, but as a victor. She didn't just leave, she won. Janelle Brown's actions were not reactions to heartbreak or neglect. They were deliberate, premeditated moves in a long game of strategy. Every calm statement, every quiet decision, every seemingly small act was a carefully placed piece on the board, leading to an outcome that only she could see coming. The battlefield was a fractured kingdom. Kody Brown was the self-proclaimed king, demanding loyalty and tribute. Robyn was his favored queen, the main recipient of his time, money, and affection. Mary had been exiled to the edges of the empire, still holding a title but no real power. Christine was the revolutionary, the emotional one who burned bridges for freedom. And Janelle, the strategist, was the family's minister of finance, the one who saw the collapse coming long before anyone else. She didn't wage her war with emotion or chaos. She used planning, patience, and precision. Her first move was subtle but decisive, the alliance with Christine. On the surface, it looked like friendship, a bond between two wives supporting each other through hard times. But strategically, it was a political alliance. Together, they formed a voting bloc that Kody couldn't overpower. For years, Kody ruled by dividing and isolating his wives, making sure no two of them were united against him. The moment Janelle began siding with Christine publicly, that strategy collapsed. Their alliance shifted the entire balance of power. Suddenly, Kody faced not one discontented wife, but two coordinated opponents. The COVID-era arguments about rules and compliance became public battlefields. Christine voiced her frustration emotionally, but Janelle's calm, logical defense of Christine's position gave their cause credibility. It showed that the opposition wasn't just emotional, it was rational. Rumors from insiders suggest that Janelle and Christine made a pact shortly after the move to Flagstaff. They allegedly sat down and outlined their plan. They would no longer operate separately. They would support each other's decisions, reinforce each other's words, and coordinate their exits. Christine would go first, her emotional departure shaking the foundation of the family. Janelle would follow later, quietly, surgically, and permanently. While Christine's departure made headlines, Janelle's true power came from her second front, the financial one. Freedom costs money, and she understood that better than anyone. While Kody and Robyn poured money into their massive home, Janelle was quietly securing her independence. Her Plexus business wasn't just a side hustle, it was her escape fund. She built a separate economic system, one that Kody couldn't touch. As the family's finances tangled into chaos, Janelle began separating hers. She opened private accounts, built credit in her own name, and kept meticulous records of every dollar she put into the family's ventures. Her insistence on paying off Coyote Pass wasn't just practicality, it was strategy. She was forcing everyone to publicly acknowledge who owned what, creating a paper trail that would one day protect her. Insider theories suggest she even structured her Coyote Pass investment as a personal loan or business transaction rather than a simple contribution. This meant that when she left, she could legally demand repayment, a shrewd move that elevated her from a dependent wife to a secured creditor. Then came her most symbolic and bold move, the RV gambit. On the show, it was portrayed as a temporary solution after her rental home sold. But this wasn't a reaction, it was a declaration. By moving on to Coyote Pass, Janelle wasn't just downsizing. She was staking her claim. She physically separated herself from Kody's control, proving she could live on her own, independent and capable. Living in that RV was more than survival, it was training. Every time she fixed a problem, handled the logistics, or managed on her own, she was proving she didn't need a husband to function. And by parking the RV on the family land, she forced Kody into the open. Would he step up and help, or would he reveal his neglect on camera? His choice to do nothing became his undoing. The RV wasn't a home. It was evidence. By this point, Janelle had built everything she needed to make her exit. Christine's departure had weakened Kody's authority. Her finances were secure. Her independence had been tested. The final blow would come from the one place Kody never expected, his own children. When he issued the ultimatum demanding that Janelle's sons apologize or lose contact with him, he thought he was asserting dominance. In reality, he handed Janelle the perfect opportunity. Her quiet response, "I can't choose between you and my kids," was her checkmate. It made her the hero, the devoted mother standing up to an unreasonable father. It exposed Kody's selfishness and stripped him of any moral ground. Insiders claim she had anticipated that moment long before it happened, rehearsing her response and waiting for Kody to hand her the opening she needed. When it came, she was calm, composed, and devastatingly effective. She let him expose himself on national television, ranting about loyalty and control, while she quietly dismantled his authority. Her departure wasn't spontaneous. It was the execution of a long, meticulous plan. She had waited until all three conditions of her strategy were met. Her children were adults, her finances were independent, and Kody had publicly destroyed his own reputation. She eliminated every risk, every weakness. There were no custody battles, no shared accounts, no emotional leverage left for him to exploit. Behind the scenes, reports suggest Janelle had even consulted with a financial advisor years prior, crafting a post-Kody plan involving diversified investments and long-term security. While she played the family accountant on camera, she was quietly running Janelle Brown, Inc., a thriving personal enterprise that guaranteed her stability beyond the show. Kody's downfall was his blindness. He and Robin were too focused on defending their comfort to realize Janelle was outthinking them. They treated Christine as the enemy while the real strategist sat silently, planning the coup that would bring the kingdom down. When Janelle finally walked away, Kody and Robin were reportedly stunned. They couldn't believe it. They thought she'd always stay, that her calmness meant loyalty. But she wasn't calm because she accepted the situation. She was calm because she had already won. While they fought emotional wars with Christine, Janelle dismantled their empire quietly and completely. Christine was the distraction. Janelle was the executioner. By the time Kody realized what had happened, she had already secured her finances, her future, and her freedom. Janelle Brown didn't just leave a marriage. She orchestrated one of the most brilliant strategic exits in reality TV history. She turned patience into power, logic into liberation, and silence into her sharpest weapon. The quietest woman in the family became the one who ended the game, toppling the king without raising her voice. Her story isn't about heartbreak, it's about strategy. Janelle waited, calculated, and executed with precision. And when the dust settled, it wasn't just the end of a marriage. It was the checkmate of a lifetime. She was never the loudest voice, never the one to cry or shout for attention. For years, Janelle Brown was seen as the calm one, the practical wife who kept her head down and made things work while everyone else spiraled. But beneath that quiet surface was a mind that never stopped calculating. In the chaos of the Brown family's collapse, it wasn't the loudest or most dramatic who came out on top. It was Janelle. This isn't a story about heartbreak. It's a story about a woman who outthought everyone around her, playing a long game that only she understood. Janelle didn't react to problems. She planned around them. Every calm smile, every careful word, every quiet decision was a deliberate move on a board no one else realized she was playing on. Her silence wasn't weakness. It was strategy. While the rest of the family fought for attention, she was setting herself up for freedom. Inside the world of sister wives, Kody Brown acted like the king of a fractured kingdom. Robin was his favored queen, showered with attention, money, and protection. Mary was the forgotten wife, left on the sidelines holding on to a title with no power. Christine was the rebel, the one who lit the fire and walked away. But Janelle? She was the strategist, the quiet architect who saw the cracks forming long before anyone else. She didn't fight Kody with emotion. She fought him with logic, planning, and patience. And her first strategic move was the most important one, aligning herself with Christine. What looked like simple friendship between two tired wives was actually the start of a political alliance. For years, Kody ruled his family by keeping his wives divided, by turning them against each other, ensuring no one could stand together against him. But when Janelle began to openly back Christine, that entire system started to crumble. Together, they became something Kody wasn't prepared for, united. Suddenly, his authority wasn't absolute anymore. The COVID rules, the endless arguments, the favoritism, all of it became open warfare. Christine's anger made headlines, but it was Janelle's calm, rational defense that gave. Behind the scenes, their bond deepened into something much stronger than friendship. It became strategy. Insiders have whispered that not long after the family's move to Flagstaff, Janelle and Christine made a quiet pact. They agreed that they would no longer face Kody's control alone. They would back each other up, mirror each other's decisions, and never let him isolate them again. It was a promise that would eventually dismantle the very system Kody built his power on. According to those close to the family, this alliance was mapped out like a plan. Christine would be the first to act, the spark that would ignite the fire. Her departure would make the emotional waves, shift public sympathy, and shake the foundation of the family structure. Janelle, on the other hand, would move later, quietly and precisely once the smoke had cleared. She would not leave in chaos or anger. She would leave on her terms, fully prepared and financially untouchable. That's where Janelle's real genius came in. While Kody and Robyn were busy building their dream mansion and draining the family accounts, Janelle was focused on something far more important: financial independence. Her Plexus business wasn't just about selling supplements or staying busy. It was about creating an exit strategy. Every sale, every commission check, every new recruit was a brick in the foundation of her freedom. As the other wives struggled to keep up with bills or depended on the family pot, Janelle was separating her finances, building credit in her own name, and saving for the day she would walk away. She knew that emotional freedom meant nothing without financial power. Even her insistence on paying off Coyote Pass wasn't just about land or fairness, it was a strategic move. By demanding accountability and proof of ownership, she was forcing transparency in a system that thrived on confusion. Kody wanted control. Janelle wanted clarity. And clarity is dangerous to anyone hiding something. Some reports even suggest that Janelle's financial contributions were structured more like loans than gifts, cleverly documented in ways that would protect her if things fell apart. In other words, she wasn't just putting money into the family's dream. She was creating a paper trail that would secure her share if that dream collapsed. While Robyn was building walls around her mansion, Janelle was quietly building walls around her independence. Every financial move she made was designed to give her leverage, proof, and options. And the best part? Kody never saw it coming. He thought her calmness meant obedience, but it was actually preparation. Then came the move that no one truly understood at first: the RV. To the outside world, it looked like desperation. A woman with nowhere to live, forced to move onto the family land in a cramped trailer while Kody and Robyn enjoyed their luxury mansion. But in reality, it was one of the most brilliant and symbolic plays Janelle ever made. That RV wasn't a step backward. It was a declaration of independence. It was her saying, "I can survive without you." By moving on to Coyote Pass, she wasn't just saving money, she was staking her physical claim to the property. She made it clear that while Kody sat in comfort, she was the one actually living on and improving the land they had all invested in. Every time she fixed a pipe, managed her power supply, or handled another day alone, she was proving to herself and to the world that she didn't need Kody to survive. That small RV became the ultimate symbol of freedom. It stripped away every illusion that she needed a man or a mansion to define her worth. And strategically, it cornered Kody. If he helped, he'd have to acknowledge her strength and independence. If he ignored her, he'd expose his neglect on national television. He chose the latter, and that choice destroyed his image. Viewers watched as Janelle struggled on her own, calm but firm, while Kody grew defensive, angry, and detached. What looked like reality TV drama was actually the final piece of Janelle's long game, letting him publicly prove who he truly was. Behind the scenes, she was setting up her next move. By that point, Christine had already left, and the family dynamic had shifted dramatically. Janelle knew her exit was inevitable, but timing was everything. She wasn't going to storm out. She was going to walk away when she was ready, when every piece of her plan was in place. The RV wasn't just her temporary home. It was her statement to the world, "I'm not trapped anymore." It was a message to Kody and Robyn that she was no longer a part of their system. She was her own woman, living on her own terms, preparing for the final decisive break. And when the tension between Kody and her sons erupted into open conflict, Janelle finally got what she'd been waiting for: the perfect opportunity to make her move. The breaking point came when Kody tried to assert his control the only way he knew how: through ultimatums. He demanded that Janelle's sons apologize to him or lose their relationship entirely. To Kody, it was a test of loyalty. To Janelle, it was confirmation of everything she already knew. He wasn't interested in fixing the family. He was interested in control. And that's when she delivered her quiet checkmate. Her simple, steady response: "I can't choose between you and my kids. wasn't just a mother's defense. It was the end of the game. She said it calmly, without drama, without tears, but the message was lethal. In that one moment, she exposed Kody's true nature for millions to see. He wasn't a father trying to mend his family. He was a man trying to manipulate loyalty. People close to the family believed Janelle had prepared for that exact moment. She knew Kody's pride would eventually push him to make a move that would backfire. And when he did, she was ready. No anger, no pleading, just resolve. She let him rant and unravel on national television while she remained the picture of reason. Every word he spoke made her look stronger, calmer, and more justified. By then, her plan was complete. Her children were grown. Her finances were secure. Her reputation was intact. And Kody had destroyed his own credibility with the very behavior she had predicted. Janelle didn't leave in chaos or scandal. She left in silence, with everything she needed to never look back. It's rumored that even years before the split, she had quietly consulted with financial professionals, setting up her own accounts, investments, and long-term security. While Kody and Robyn were drowning in mortgage payments and credit issues, Janelle was building wealth under her own name. What Kody saw as obedience was actually strategic patience. When she finally walked away, Kody and Robyn were reportedly stunned. They never imagined she would actually do it. They believed her calmness meant complacency. But that calmness was her armor. It was the sign of someone who had already won long before she said a word. Christine had lit the match, but Janelle finished the fire. While the others played emotional games, Janelle played the long game, the kind that doesn't just end a marriage, but ends an entire power structure. She didn't just escape Kody Brown, she outmaneuvered him. She waited, calculated, and executed with flawless timing. When she finally walked away, she didn't need tears or revenge. She had something far more powerful: freedom, control, and peace. Janelle Brown didn't just survive the downfall of the Brown family. She engineered it. The quietest wife became the smartest strategist. And when the dust settled, she stood alone, not broken, not bitter, but victorious.